We at The Gamer would like to say a big happy birthday to PlayStation? 25 years ago, on December 3rd, 1994, Sony released their first console, the PlayStation 1. And now, 25 years later, they're getting ready to release their fifth. Today at The Gamer, we'll be taking a deep dive into the second quarter century of PlayStation. Everyone knows that it's not the man that makes the clothes, but the clothes that make the man. So how does the new PlayStation look? In the past few days, some photos of the PS5 dev kit have been leaked. And honestly, it looks pretty cool. More like a car engine than a gaming console. It's in the shape of a V, as in 5, and it has a lot of vents on the side. It's also really big. It could end up looking like this, but at the same time, comparing the PS4 dev kit and the actual PS4 is not even like comparing apples and oranges. It's more like comparing apples to something like ground beef. Will you be able to play PS1 games on the new console? Maybe. Same with the PS2 and 3. But Sony has confirmed the ability to play online with people still on PS4s. So there's no need to be worried about leaving your less moneyed or change-averse friends in the dust, because with the PS5, you can reach back in time through the internet. The PS5 will obviously be more powerful than its predecessor, but by how much? Well, number 5 will have a CPU based on AMD's Ryzen line and a GPU based on AMD's Navi line. But the big next-gen hardware jump is from a spinning hard drive to a solid-state drive. But what does that even mean? As you might have been able to guess from its name, a spinning hard drive spins, and the technology it uses is actually pretty old. Every time the console needs to get information off the drive, it sends out the disk head to seek it out. This only takes milliseconds, but still, this is basically like a vinyl record spinning really, really fast. Developers got around this hardware limitation by duplicating assets in games. This is why in an open world game you might run into the same NPC a few times in a row. Mark Cerny, the lead system architect of the PS4 and 5, says that, quote, "If you look at a game like Marvel's Spider-Man, there are some pieces of data duplicated 400 times on the hard drive. The SSD should in theory get rid of this. And some rumors are even saying that it's 19 times faster." The PS5 will still have a disk drive though, and games will be available on 100GB disks. The drive that reads these disks will be fast, but it won't be able to keep up with the SSD, so you'll still have to install games. But not the whole thing. Say you bought Call of Duty only for the multiplayer and you were never even considering playing the game solo. Well, then you don't have to install the campaign at all. As Cerny says, rather than treating games like a big block of data, we're allowing finer-grained access to the data. As for the actual interface of the PS5, Mark Cerny claims that we're in for an overhaul. He says that even though it will be fairly fast to boot games, we don't want the player to have to boot the game, see what's up, boot the game, and see what's up. So it will be integrated somehow. They're very light on the specifics here. They just say that as a player, you just jump right into whatever you like, whatever that means. What about the controller? Well, the DualShock 5 has two main differences from its last-gen counterpart. First, there's the feedback. Controllers up until now have used a rumble motor, a spinning weight inside the controller that makes it vibrate or rumble. But the new DualShock features a haptic response instead, which just means super lifelike. It simulates all kinds of different sensations, not just bumps and vibration. Peter Rubin of Wired got to try it out, and his initial reports seem very promising. I ran a character through a platform level featuring a number of different surfaces, all of which gave distinct and surprisingly immersive tactile experiences. Sand felt slow and sloggy, mud felt slow and soggy. On ice, a high-frequency response made the thumbsticks really feel like my character was gliding. Jumping into a pool, I got a sense of the resistance of the water. On a wooden bridge, a bouncy sensation. While inspecting the controller, Ruben also asked them about a hole on the bottom that seemed like a convenient place to put a microphone, and they simply said, "We'll talk more about it another time." But the controllers also have adaptive triggers that change the feel of different activities. They're programmable, so let's say you're playing Tomb Raider and you pull back a bow and arrow. The trigger will offer more resistance as you pull the bow back and tighten the string. How does Sony's new console shape up against the competition? So far they look about the same. They use the same CPU and GPU, and they're even going to be teaming up? As the great British rapper Dave once said, when you're trying to make it at the ends, friends of enemies are enemies, and enemies of enemies are friends. Or, in other words, Google is a force to be reckoned with. Although the launch of their Stadia streaming service hasn't exactly been going smoothly, Google has time and also a lot of money. This whole gaming thing is just a little side project for them. A fun weekend hobby for when they get bored of controlling the second biggest industry on Earth. Anyway, Sony knows that Google will be force-feeding cloud gaming to the world, so they figure they might as well get in on it. And unfortunately, they don't have the infrastructure to do it on their own. That's where Microsoft comes in. They've already got Azure, a cloud computing service that they use for their xCloud streaming platform. So Sony and Microsoft got together and signed a deal. Specifically, it says, quote, the two companies will explore joint development of future cloud solutions in Microsoft Azure to support their respective game and content streaming services. In addition, the two companies will explore the use of current Microsoft Azure data center-based solutions for Sony's game and content streaming services. By working together, the companies aim to deliver more enhanced entertainment experiences for their worldwide customers. These efforts will also include building better development platforms for the content creator community. But they still make it very clear that Microsoft and Sony are making their own separate consoles. What do you think? Is this a match made in heaven or a marriage from hell? Will the PS5 be a giant leap into the future or just a step? Let us know in the comments, and of course, subscribe to The Gamer for more.